In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a Champion 27-ton log splitter. If you can't get it from the store already made, you can build it at your home with pretty basic tools. Let's get into it. The first step has us install the tow bar assembly with the hydraulic reservoir tank. There were 2 bolts pre-installed on the tank with washers and lock nuts. These have a 19 millimeter or a 3/4 head size, so that's going to be for your socket or your wrenches. And this is pretty easy. Just put your tow bar in there like that, line up the holes, and then stick in the bolts and tighten it down. The second step has us install the fenders on each side. It's very easy. There's 2 holes that line up on each fender, and there's 2 M10 by 25 bolts for each side. The cardstock that has all the bolts on it is super easy to use, so there's no problem finding what type of bolt you need. And then just use a 17 millimeter for the nut side, and then either a 16 or a wrench, pliers for this side, and tighten it down. On to the third step. Now we're going to install the tire onto the axles. So I removed the castle nut and the cotter pin. There's a bunch of grease on here. So with your valve stem out, slide your wheel onto the axle. It's okay if this bearing comes out. And you're going to push that in there, and you're going to take your castle nut and you're going to tighten it down by hand. Okay. Then you're going to take your wrench, 1/4 turn, spin the wheel. This distributes the bearing grease. Then loosen the castle nut, retighten by hand, and then you're going to take and you're going to find the hole where the cotter pin goes into, and put your cotter pin in, and then bend the ends so the cotter pin won't come out. And then the wheel should spin freely, but when grass on both sides should not move from side to side. And that's it. And then on the next one. Once both tires are installed, take your axle caps, stick them on there, and then just grab like a soft mallet or a piece of wood with a hammer and just tap it into place. Fourth step was super easy. It's just installing the front foot on your toe assembly. There's just a large pin or the smaller pin that will keep it captive. That's really easy. Okay, this next step is super sketch, and you really need 2 people. But all we're going to do is we're going to lift this up, and we're going to slide a bolt inside of here to inside of here, and then tighten it down in the vertical position. So it might take a little bit. This thing weighs over 200 pounds, but it should be fairly easy to get it upright and then kind of move the base to get it to fit in. So let's try it out. Like I said, it's very heavy. Walk into place. Okay, once you get it stood up like this, take your bolt, okay, and then grab your big washer, your small washer, and then we're going to tighten it down. I don't have the size currently because I didn't get ready for that. But I'll tell you after this what size this nut is. Okay, so the nut is a 22 millimeter, and it says just to tighten it down. Okay, once that's tight, then it wants us to pivot this to the horizontal position and lock it with our lock pin. So like I said, remember, it is heavy, so we're going to lift it. We're going to pivot it, like like so. Put our lock pin in place and secure it. The next step is to install the engine. We're going to use these two bolt holes here and these two bolt holes here. And they use the M8 by 40 size bolts, and these are a 13 millimeter socket and a wrench. So we'll just take our engine, it's pretty light, slide it on top, get the hole lined up, run a bolt through, and then take your washer and your lock nut and tighten that down, and then do that for the rest of the other three. Okay, so step 7 has us install the hoses, and the first hose they want us to install is the high pressure hydraulic hose. That's off of this 45-degree sweep right here. It's already pre-tightened, and they want you to take an O-ring that's in our stock where all the bolts are, and we're going to stick it right on top of that 90-degree fitting right there, and we're going to bend this and then screw this on. And they want you to torque it to 44 foot-pounds or 52 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench, so I'm just going to tighten it super tight. And they say you don't need to put any thread tape on that. So let me get that tightened down, then we'll do the next hose. The second hose we're going to attach is the suction hose. This is going to go from here to here, and it's held on by some hose clamps that are a size 5/16 for the ratchet that you need to use. And finally, the last hose is your low pressure hydraulic hose, and this is the one on the top, and this just goes right here where your filter is. And again, this one says to 52 to 66 foot-pounds. Like I said, I don't have one. Just going to tighten it down as tight as it goes. Step 8 has us install the two log catchers. There's difference between these two. This one's bigger, it has 4 holes, and they're threaded holes in here as well. So you just take your bolt, your lock washer, and your washer, and you'll just thread it in like this, and then tighten those down. And then we'll do the next side. The second log catcher is smaller. It has 2 holes in it. It's installed angled down, and it goes on the back side of the log splitter. And this has a 6 millimeter head on it for Allen screw or Allen wrench. And then just stick your bolt through there with your lock, washer, and then your nut, like so. And then this uses a 17 millimeter for the nut. The other side, for the bigger log catcher, which I forgot to mention, is a 16 millimeter. So we just assembled the entire log splitter. Now it's down to adding fluids. The first fluid is motor oil. They're having us put 10W30 in the engine. It came with the kit, and it's very easy. There's a yellow cap with a dipstick on this side of it with a funnel that came with the kit, and they want you to add 16.9 fluid ounces of oil, which is right here. And one important note is when you check it, make sure that you're not screwing in the dipstick to check it. You're just putting it in there, and then it should be halfway. And make sure on a level surface to do this. Okay, the next fluid, we're going to add some gasoline. I always use non-ethanol. This is non-ethanol 92. I'm just going to put, oh shit, that was a lot. A lot of gas, a lot of gas. All right, so I just added gas. My dad should love my choice of words on that one. That was my mistake. It really came out quick. So now the next fluid we're going to do is hydraulic fluid. We get 2 jugs at 2.3 gallons each. They want us to put 4 gallons in first, and then after we get 4 gallons in, it should be in the sight gauge. It's on the back side here. We'll just see hydraulic fluid in the gauge back here. But once we get hydraulic fluid in there, we'll start the engine up, and then we'll have to purge any air out, and then we'll add the final ½ gallon of hydraulic fluid into the system. I learned from my mistake. I'm using a funnel this time. I just finished putting the 4 gallons of hydraulic fluid into the reservoir. The cap has a port on the top of it. They want that to be away from the operator, so make sure it's pointed at least in this direction. But now I'm going to start this baby up, let it run for a few minutes, then I'm going to work the hydraulic controls back and forth. It's going to be very jerky, not smooth, but once it is smooth, then I know the air is out of the system, and I can add the last ½ gallon of hydraulic fluid into the reservoir. Let's fire this baby up. So I got the choke in, fuel on, pull start. Ran through a few operations. It went nice and smooth. The engine started up right away, so no complaints there. After everything was done, the air was all purged out. I added the rest of the hydraulic oil to the reservoir. It does take both jugs of hydraulic oil that comes with the kit and the motor oil, so use everything that comes in the kit. It was really easy to put together. It does say to use 2 people. I got by with using 1, but I was kind of set up for it. So you can do it with 1 person, but just be careful if you do it with 1 person. Overall, it was a very simple build. It wasn't complicated. It was easy. It didn't take very much time. So overall, I'm happy with the product. Now, after a couple of days, I'm going to go and split some more wood. So I'll show you this in action of actually splitting some maple, some Doug fir, maybe some alder. But until then, like the channel, subscribe, and leave me a comment with any questions you might have on this product. Until next time, thanks.